Have my morning pipe. I smoke a pipe. Good morning. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. This goes into detail about husbands and wives. It is quite a lengthy chapter, so you'll have to bear with me when I'm reading it. I love the detail that it goes into here, and it explains clearly what husbands and wives are to be. And it's wonderful. This whole chapter is so good. Okay, so just bear with me when I'm reading it. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Now concerning what you write to me, it is ideal for a man not to be touching a woman. Yet because of prostitutions, let each man have a wife for himself, and each woman have her own husband. Let the husband render to the wife her due, yet likewise the wife also to the husband. The wife has not the jurisdiction over her own body, but the husband. Yet likewise the husband also has not the jurisdiction over his own body, but the wife. Do not deprive one another, except sometime it should be by agreement for a period, that you should have leisure for prayer, and you may be the same again, lest Satan may be trying you because of your incontinence. Now this I am saying as a concession, not as an injunction. For I want all men to be as I myself also, but each has his own gracious gift from God. One indeed thus, yet one thus. Now I'm saying to the unmarried and the widows, that it is ideal for them if ever they should be remaining even as I. Yet if they are not controlling themselves, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to be on fire. Now to the married I am charging, not I, but the Lord. A wife is not to be separated from her husband, yet if she should be separated also, let her remain unmarried or be conciliated to the husband. And the husband is not to leave his wife. Now to the rest am I speaking, not the Lord. If any brother has an unbelieving wife, and she approves of making a home with him, let him not leave her. And a wife who has an unbelieving husband, and he approves of making a home with her, let her not leave her husband. For the unbelieving husband is hallowed by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is hallowed by the brother. Else consequently your children are unclean, yet now they are holy. Yet if the unbeliever is separating, let him separate. A brother or a sister is not enslaved in such a case. Now God has called us in peace. For of what are you aware, O wife? Will you be saving your husband? Or of what are you aware, O husband? Will you be saving your wife? Except as the Lord parts it to each. Each as God has called him. Thus let him be walking. And thus am I prescribing in all the ecclesias. Was anyone called having been circumcised? Let him not be decircumcised. Is anyone called in uncircumcision? Let him not circumcise. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the precepts of God. Each one in the calling in which he was called. In this let him be remaining. Were you called a slave? Let it not be causing you care. But if you are able to become free, also use it rather. For in the Lord, he who is being called a slave is the Lord's freedom. Likewise, he who is being called being free is a slave of Christ. With a price are you bought. Do not become the slaves of men. Each one in what he was called, brethren, in this let him remain with God. Now concerning the celibates or virgins, I have no injunction of the Lord, yet an opinion am I giving, as one who has enjoyed mercy by the Lord to be faithful. I am inferring then this ideal to be inherent, because of the present necessity, for it is ideal for humanity to be thus. You are bound to a wife. Do not seek to be loosed. You have been loosed from a wife. Do not seek a wife. Yet if you ever should be marrying, also you did not sin. And if the virgin should be marrying, she did not sin. Yet affliction in the flesh will such be having. Yet I am sparing you. Now this I am averring, brethren, the era is limited, that furthermore those also having wives may as not be having them, and those lamenting as not lamenting, and those rejoicing as not rejoicing, and those buying as not retaining, and those using this word as not using it up. For the fashion of this world is passing by. Now I want you to be without worry. The unmarried one is solicitous about the things of the Lord, how he should be pleasing the Lord. Yet he who marries is solicitous about the things of the world. Now how he should be pleasing his wife, and is parted. The unmarried woman as well as the virgin, the unmarried one is solicitous about the things of the Lord, that she may be holy in body as well as in spirit. Yet she who marries is solicitous about the things of the world, how she should be pleasing her own husband. Now this I am saying for your own experience, that not I should be casting a noose over you, but for that which is respectable and assiduous, to be undistractingly for the Lord. Now, if anyone is inferring it to be indecent for his virgin, if she should be over her meridian, and thus it ought to occur, what he will let him do. He is not sinning, let them marry. Yet he who stands settled in his heart, having no necessity, has authority as to his own will, and has decided this in his own heart, to be keeping his virgin, ideally will be doing. So that he also who is taken as virgin in marriage, ideally will be doing. Yet he who is not taken out in marriage will be doing better. A wife is bound by law for whatever time her husband is living. Yet if the husband should be reposing, she is free to be married, to whom she will, only in the Lord. Yet happier is she, if ever she should be remaining thus, according to my opinion. Now I presume that I also have God's Spirit. Okay, so that ends chapter 7. Pretty detailed, isn't it? Now, you'd have to really, really study it and understand it in detail, right? I believe that a believer who is married to an unbeliever should stay with the unbeliever, literally, right? I don't believe in divorce anyway. I never did, and I don't like it. But if it happens, it happens. We are free to separate if we have to. The whole point is that we stay with our wife. We love our wife, and we continue in the Lord, right? So if you're married in the Lord, there's a big difference. If you're married in the world, then you're concerned with the world affairs. But to be married to a woman who is in love with the Lord, and you also, so then you're married together in the Lord, if that makes any sense. Saying that, I love you all in the Lord. Read that chapter, study it out. I'm still studying it. It's a hard chapter, okay? But grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. We will see you tomorrow, folks. Happy Tuesday.